The new merch for the month is live, Twitchies, so come get your cutesy Lulu merch. Look at him, he just wants to have fun by terrorizing you on the battleground. And our hacker merch, remember, it's not your fault that you died, they must have been a hacker. Check it out in the description down below and get it while it's still here. Buddy, we are here with your Cuckoo guide. On Cuckoo, our build is going to be quite a bit different than on other mid laners. We're going to be starting off with tier 2, going into a Book of Thoth, 1 health potion, 2 mana pots, and our beads. On Cuckoo, our goal above all else is power, power, power. He scales extremely well with power, and he gains a bunch of bonus power from mana from his passive, so let's hop into that. Increase magical power by 4% of maximum mana. That means that when your items, like Book of Thoth that we're going to be getting down here, give me a little bit of mana, I'm going to be getting bonus power. So this number inside here is how much bonus power that I have for my items. So I've already got 17 bonus power. The ability that we're going to get at level 1 and the ability that we will max out first is our 3 Whirlwind. This is our major lane clear ability. And so when we clear this speed buff, what we're going to do is we're going to sit over this wall. I'm going to get ready to throw it down at the 20-second marker, right when those guys spawn, and then I'm going to run away. That's going to give me a lot of bleed down there on the speed buff, and because it lasts for a long time on the ground, I'm going to be able to get credit for that and head myself over to the mid lane. So what exactly does Tornado do? Tornado is a very high damaging ability. So if you go in the range of this tornado, you're going to start taking some ticks. And it lasts for 2.5 seconds. There is a maximum of 12 ticks if you stay within the range the entire time. If you're fighting an enemy god, they're not just going to sit brainlessly inside the tornado, so you won't get that much damage off of them. But the NPCs, on the other hand, they will sit right on inside it, which means it's very easy on things like the red buff to go over and clear the whole thing. The ability that we got here at level 2 and the ability that we will be maxing out third is our 1 Zephyr. This is actually one of our main PvP abilities. A little bit underutilized on Cuckoo. This is a line-based ability that travels really fast.
Overwhelming splendor.
If you hit a target with this ability, it is going to do a nice amount of damage. Plus, it's going to slow them, which really sets up the enemies for the rest of your abilities. So standardly, you're going to be starting off a fight with this ability, because then you can slow them to get them stuck inside your whirlwind or for your ultimate use later. Very important to get used to hitting this ability. The ability that we got at level 4 is our second ability. It'll be getting leveled up last. We're sitting around in the mid lane until we can afford Book of Thoth. Once we can afford our Book of Thoth, we will be backing immediately so we can start getting those stacks.
Cosmic energy, shield glory.
Unfortunately, that kitty cat actually drug away the creeps a little bit from my clear, but that's all right. I'm going to stick around. I was going to leave right there, but now I'm going to try to come back over. Make sure my Bastet doesn't get ganked too hard. And now I can go ahead, back it up, get that Book of Thoth. So our second ability, this is our getaway skill here on Cuckoo. It is an increase in movement speed. So it's going to give us 60% movement speed, but that buff is going to wane as the time goes on. So it lasts for 4 seconds, but that buff is going to gradually decrease as this goes longer and longer. So it starts at 60%, and then you basically slowly go back down to your regular movement speed. Also important to note on this ability, it does give you slow immunity and takes slows off of you for 0.6 seconds. So you will cleanse yourself of slows and become immune to slows for 0.6 seconds. So you can use this ability wisely to get a slow off of you to help you get away on top of the bonus movement speed that it gets you. The reason why we go Book of Thoth on Cuckoo is pretty obvious. Cuckoo's passive gives you additional power for having mana. Book of Thought gives you 1,000 mana on top of all the power that it gives you. That means that Cuckoo gets a disgusting amount of power out of this item. Finally, our ultimate. Our ultimate is one of the actually best damaging ultimates in the game. If you can consistently land it, and that's because it is a burst ability. It's not like a damage over time ability. Like, you're never gonna really get a full team in like a Gooby ulti, which would theoretically do more damage. Kuku ulti is a massive line-based ability, but it's got a pretty slow build-up. So the enemy will know that this ability is coming, which is why it can tend to be a little bit harder to hit. Basically, you're summoning a giant dragon out of the sky, and it does massive amounts of damage. And it also knocks enemies up. It'll knock them up to the side. So if they get hit basically slightly to one side of this ability, it'll just yeet them the other way. Gotta back up, get tier 2 boots and a couple of wards. We will be going cooldown boots on Kuku. A little bit of CDR never hurt nobody, but more importantly, it's also gonna give us some mana, which stacks great with our passive.
Your middle tower is under attack.
On Kuku, the general idea with the build is that he is one of the best, if not the best, stack builders in the game outside of Baba Yaga, and even then he honestly could probably give Baba Yaga a run for her money outside of the early game where she gets the bonus stacks that he can't, just because of how efficient he is with clearing. So what you're doing with Kuku is you're throwing your tornado down on the wave and you're immediately leaving the lane. You throw down that tornado is going to kill the wave. You don't worry about it, especially once you get like level 5+. You don't even have to think about it. So you're gonna throw down your tornado, you're gonna immediately leave, and you're gonna run into the jungle, and you're gonna go get yourself extra farm, okay? Maximize your farm. You should always be running in and out of the jungle on Kuku, any of those extremely high clear gods. So Kukulkan putting a lot of pressure on this Woojer. I'm going to wait to see if he ultis. He does, so I'm going to combine my ult with that Kukulkan ulti. I really don't know if that hit me, but that's all right, Janice. And you can see a really easy setup right there for the Kuku ult. And you can see as well how long it honestly does take that Kuku ult to come out. I need to back up. That's totally fine. I'm going to throw down a little nado here on the wave. Kumba's holding it for me. I'm going to back myself right on up. Get my full CDR boots. And then our third item is going to be a Warlock Sash. Warlock Sash is going to be a pretty important item for us here on Kuku. I wouldn't call it mandatory. I would say the mandatory start is your Book of Thoth cooldown boots. But I would highly recommend the Warlock Sash for the double stacking. Very important on Kuku. If you want to get a little greedy, you could go right into a Doom Orb. I tend to get Doom Orb 4th item on Kuku. But if you were really feeling yourself and you didn't feel like you need any health, you could try to skip over the Warlock Sash and just go in for even more damage with the Doom Orb. I prefer a little bit of tankiness on my Kuku just because he is a little susceptible to ganks because he doesn't have a true getaway skill. He just has the increased movement.
An enemy has been slain.
Our official level order for the Kuku is 4, 3, 1, 2. So grab that ultimate any time that you can. This is awkward. I gotta be very careful here. I gotta turn around so that the Awilix doesn't get the knock up on me. I'm gonna try to walk back in and help out my guy a little bit here. I'm actually gonna throw down a defensive tornado because I could feel like he wanted to go in on me. I thought he just might. So I threw down a defensive tornado right there. And now because I'm still alive, all I do, I throw down a little nado right there. And then I waddle away, waddle, 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 till the very next day. Bum, 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 ba-da-dum. So you can see already we've got 78 bonus magical power from our passive. That's a full item at the 8-minute marker straight from our passive. That's why it's so important to make sure you're building mana items on the Kuku. So I'm gonna go ahead and back it up. Gonna start working on our Warlock Sash. It's not gonna give us that much mana, but it does have a little bit of mana on it, which for us literally just means additional power. And Warlock Sash actually is a very, very high power item nowadays. Not even factoring in that little mana portion for us. So it's gonna give us a little bit of tankiness, but a lot of damage and 10% pen. And we're going to be waiting a long time to get big percent pen in this build. So I also like to get that little 10% early just to help out a little bit. My Kumba's here in mid. I want to make sure he just doesn't get caught out by himself. Nothing to farm over here. Just going to keep looking for farm in the jungle. For our standard combination on Kuku, pretty straightforward. Like we mentioned, you 1 on an enemy god, and then you either follow up with your 3, and you're just using this as a poking technique. Maybe you get them down to about half HP, and that's fine. And then the next time when you do it, they'll be dead, or you're full committing. In that case, what you're going to do is you're going to throw down your 1, and then you're immediately going to follow up with your ultimate. Because they will be slowed, you'll have a much better chance of hitting your ulti. Do be careful against gods with like leaps, because you can easily jump over a Kuku ult. So keep that in mind. If he ultis this guy, I'm waiting to see if he ultis. There you go. I'm gonna throw down my ulti. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, no worries there whatsoever. As a Kuku, this brings up a great point. If you have somebody on your team to set you up, that being a Nedja, that being a Kukulkan, doesn't matter. If you have anybody that's got a very strong, easy setup ability, save your ulti, wait for them to use their setup, and then go ahead and use your ultimate. There's no reason for you to be throwing out your ultis, which is basically a one-shot all game long. It's 11 minutes into the game, and this thing is literally a 1,000 damage ultimate. So if you can hit it for guarantees, you're just going to guarantee yourself a kill. No reason to go all James Bond and try to yeet it over the jungle line if you don't have to. Now, every game, you won't have such a nice support to set it up for you. But, you know, when you're blessed in the game, you're blessed in the game. Four gods that Kuku likes to and doesn't like to go against. Right off the bat, you can tell Kuku does not mind going against gods with slows. That is because his 2 makes him very fast and makes him immune to slows. So I actually don't mind the Janus whatsoever. A big part of Janus is trying to slow people down with threshold like that, but I can actually get over that easy peasy lemon squeezy. So anybody based around slows, I do not mind going against on Kuku. You'll be surprised how many gods in the game just have an abundance of slows. And so that makes him pretty good in a lot of situations. I'm going to start working on my Doom Orb now. Make sure I get a little Sentry Ward and a regular ward. The reason we want Doom Orb, 1, lots of power. 2, more mana, which for us means more power. 3, this additional movement speed. I almost always build Doom Orb on gods that on mage mids that do not have a true escape skill. My escape skill is just extra movement speed, so I want extra movement speed all the time. Plus, with how good Kuku is clearing the wave, all you got to do is throw down your tornado on the wave. You run into the jungle, you got the bonus movement speed, helps you farm even more, gives you that extra power, helps you rotate for ganks, all that good stuff. So back to the matchups. Anybody with the slows you like going against. Anybody that doesn't have a leap you love to go against. Because you can slow people down with your 1 so easy. If you're going against a god that doesn't have a real getaway skill, whether that be a leap or a dash, you get the easiest kills on people because they'll take so much damage from tornado. If the enemy does not have an easy escape skill from the tornado, they're literally just gonna sit there and get railed on. Look how long Yamoja was stuck inside of that tornado. That's because the one by the end of the game is slowing for 40%. 40% slow for 3 seconds is a very, very long slow. So as long as you can consistently hit that one, you're going to be setting up so much of your own damage. And if you have a Kukulkan, then you can set up so much of your ulti damage without even having to use your brain. And isn't that wonderful? For gods that you don't like going against on Kuku, step one, you do not like to go against anybody with walls. Walls are really hard. Walls are really hard for Kuku to deal with because you don't have a way to get over them. This means that people like Woojer, who can do something like this is very scary for Kuku. It puts you in a horrible, horrible, horrible spot. So Thor, Ymir, Woojer, any of those gods can get you into a bind really quick. Also, because you don't have a leap or any real CC, Fenrir is detrimental to Kuku. All he has to do is walk up, brutalize you. The second you try to ulti to get him off you, because nothing else will even matter, he can just cancel his brutalize, and then he can jump up into the air over your Kuku ult. Not hard to do whatsoever, so watch out for the Fenrir, watch out for anybody with walls, and watch out for people that have excessive CC. You don't have any CC immunity built into your kit, right? Your ulti does not make you CC immune. You don't have a leap, you don't have a dash. All you can do is get away from slows. The reason why Kuku doesn't have such good escape is because he has some of the highest damage output in the game, period. With all of his abilities put together, his scaling is insane, his base damage is insane. So in order to kind of balance it out, he's a very risky god in terms of his defense. Because of that, that's why I like a little bit here of the defense in my build. So the Warlock Sash gives us a little bit of that extra HP for us to stay alive. The Doom Orb give us a little bit extra that movement speed to kind of embrace our movement speed to try to run away from people. All good stuff. And because it's all giving us mana, it is 15 minutes into this game. I've got 764 magical power. My ultimate hits for 700 plus 918. That is as ridiculous as it sounds, I promise. Now, as we're moving here into the later stages of the game, this is where the build starts to become a little bit more mixed up. I pretty much always run this core build on Kuku, Book of Thoth, cooldown boots, Warlock Sash, Doom Orb. It's just what I find to be preferable. But now as you move into the later stages of the game, your build is going to become a lot more varied. If your enemy is not getting tanky, and this goes for all gods, not Kuku. If your enemy is a squishy team and they're not building defenses, you don't need to just like go build an Ob Shard. So I'm gonna look at this team right after I rotate over here to help Kumba. We're gonna kind of see what they're building, what they're up to. They've got a weirdly hybrid CERN. They've got a squishy Janus. They've got a squishy Awilix. They've got a squishy Rama, and they've got a tanky Woojer. So I'm not gonna worry about getting an Ob Shard here because they are all very squishy. If I was going against a team that had a real honest-to-God warrior solo, maybe they've got a Thor in the jungle that's, you know, building like a sledge, all this kind of stuff, then maybe I look for more pen. But otherwise, I'm looking for raw power, raw damage on Kuku. So for my next item, what I'm going to be looking for is a Rod of Tahuti. Rod of Tahuti just going to give me a bunch of extra power and, of course, that extra damage on low HP targets. That extra damage on low HP targets you're going to find is particularly nice for your tornado. When you hit them with the one, they're going to get quite low. Then they're going to start taking damage from the tornado. And that tornado, if they get the bonus damage from the Rod of Tahuti, will really take them down from half HP extraordinarily quickly. So that is going to be my next item. After that, I will once again look at my build. And I will try to see If they are building more defenses, in which case I need pen. If they're not going to be building more defenses, then what we will do is we will go ahead and look into more power items. Things like Polynomicon, which can be a great item on Kuku, particularly if your team does not have good Phoenix push. If your team doesn't really have an ADC, or they don't have anybody that can get in range, Poly is super easy to proc on Kuku on Phoenixes. Because your 1 is so low cooldown by default, all you gotta do is throw down your 1 and then you auto attack the Phoenix, and it's not unreasonable for you to be able to hit the Phoenix for like 500 damage in auto. Make sure you throw down that ultimate on the Fire Giant to secure it. Even if it looks like you're going to get the Fire Giant for free like it did right there, Kuku ultimate is not that long of a cooldown. It's 90 seconds base, so I've got it down to 81 seconds. So feel free to just use it on the Fire Giant in order to give yourself that guarantee on the clear. You'll hit level 20 quite early on Kuku. You should honestly be getting 20 on Kuku every game before your opponent does, because he is one of the most efficient, if not the most efficient, mid lane farmer in the game. Sometimes this means your early mid game gets a little bit more boring because you're kind of just walking around the map farming, but that's fine. If you get, you know, so much more gold than everybody else in the game, at the end of the day, that's how you win Smite games. You get gold, you get XP, you get the farm, and then nobody can fight into you because you're just too dang large. For Kuku on our fighting, we do like the utilization of walls. Walls aren't perfect for us on Kuku because our 1 does not go through walls, so that will get blocked by walls. We can throw our 3 over walls, and our ultimate goes through walls, and our 2 is obviously a self buff. So we like to use walls a little bit to try to keep people away from us. Just because we don't have a true escape skill, we got to be a little bit more careful with our positioning. When you're getting into the team fight stage of the game, you're looking for poke above all else.
Attack the gold fury.
Kuku is extremely good at poking people down before you have to full commit to a fight. All you gotta do is land that 1, throw down the tornado, bada bing, bada boom. You've got somebody down to half HP or less. And then when the fight actually gets started, you can throw down that ulti, try to hit multiple people at the same time. Immediate game changer. I've got the Rada Tahuti. I'm looking at their builds again. Once again, nobody is tanky at all. So instead of looking into something like an Ob Shard, I'm going to go into a Polynomicon. If you're trying to defend a Phoenix or towers on Kuku, your priority should be on killing the creeps. Without creeps, Phoenixes in particular are extremely hard to shove, which means that every time you see those creeps coming up, you safely throw down that tornado where they're going to be walking, and then you back up behind your Phoenix again. This is gonna let you, 1, provide pretty nice zoning in that Phoenix range, because they're gonna have to run to the left or right hand side of the Phoenix, which is gonna give you a great opportunity to get them grouped up for your 1 and your ulti. But also 2, it's gonna stop them from having an easy push on your Phoenixes, because they're actually gonna have to fight without those backdoor protections, and nobody wants to fight under a Phoenix without the backdoor protection. Kumba gave me a nice little setup right there, so all I'm gonna do is just follow up on the emoji. Nothing spicy, literally 1-3, and that's most of Emoja's health. I honestly probably could have killed him if I would have thrown down my ultimate. 845 damage on a 1. We're pretty large right now, so we're kind of moving into the Titan room. Still waiting for Kukulkan to use his ulti. There it is. I'm going to throw down my ult right here on the emoji. That's going to pick him up. Moving over kind of towards the Willix. He's going to go down. And just like that, we walk ourselves right into the Titan room. 1 last 1 for the road. And we'll be able to delete this Titan. So So we would have finished up our Polynomicon right there, which would have given us so much damage against Phoenixes. Also, when you get that Poly online, your one auto attack combo, depending on how squishy some targets are, can one-shot. I say one-shot, it's technically a two-shot, but your one auto attack can very well kill things like Hunters in the ultra late game. Hunters can tend to give you problems if they go the crit build at the very, very end of the game. But if you land your one auto attack, because it's such a long range on it, you can sometimes kill them before they ever get into the range of you of critting. So for finishing up that build, we would have had the Poly, then we would have sold our cooldown boots, and for a 6th item, the world would have been at our disposal. Maybe it's the Ob Shard for the pen. Maybe it's a Book of the Dead because we've got so much mana to give us that extra HP. Maybe it's a Mantle of Discord because they've got some sort of assassinate type character on their team that's giving me a bunch of problems that I need to get peel from. A lot of options on the table for that 6th slot after you sell your boot. Even a cooldown item. Maybe I even go Chronos Pendant just to get the 20% CDR. Pair that with a red pot. All of a sudden I've got 30% CDR, even though I bought one CDR item all game long, guys. And that is your coup, guys.